motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second the
You've been
motion.
grabbing them all, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's not fight, boys.
That's why you're in between us.
The second session will be held at the Canterbury Elementary School on Friday, the 15th of March, 2024, at 7 o'clock to act on the following subjects. 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $26,405 for the first year's payment towards a new backhoe. This payment is for a long-term lease purchase agreement in the amount of $197,950 payable over a term of 7 years. Furthermore, to offset the lease agreement amount using $40,000 from the capital reserve account created for this purpose, as the selectmen are agents to expend and to trade in current backhoe for $12,000. This lease contains an escape clause. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen.
Can I just interrupt for a second? The updated copies of everything are on this table here, so members of the public, if you would like to get, what's on the website is like 1 or 2 words off from what we're reading tonight, so you might want that. Thanks.
Oh, so that changed from prefix to, okay, majority.
Same with the budget.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you.
13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $440,000 for the purpose of purchasing a new motor road grader and the withdrawal of $400,000 from capital reserve account created for this purpose. The balance, $40,000, to be raised by taxes. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. I have a question.
Mhm.
What's a motor road grader? Is that just,
Yeah, that's what they call it, that's what it's,
it doesn't say what
in
kind
the
it is?
contract we signed, they call, Caterpillar calls it a motor
Oh, okay,
Interesting.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
versus, pedal powered grader, I don't know.
Like the guy in the commercial,
I
this little
don't
bicycle.
know, I don't know, but that's what it's called, and I figured, well, for the sake of the warrant article, in case everything, to make sure it's all clear,
Yeah.
Beth?
yes.
I do have a question, and I'm not sure if it's appropriate at this one or at 15, but the math only seems to work, the balance of $40,000 to be raised by taxes, if indeed 15 gets voted in.
So we have 40,000 in the cap reserve account right now.
Correct, but you need to raise,
We're gonna,
We already have that. The 15 is what they wanna put away this coming year,
oh, the 30 does, oh, okay.
yeah.
All right, I thought the 30 in number 15 is applied to that $40,000, the balance to
No.
be raised.
No,
No.
no.
Oh, okay, you've already got that, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
You're welcome.
Pages are up there.
14,
yeah,
Yes.
to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,323,453 for general municipal operation. This article does not include appropriations contained in special or individual articles addressed separately. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen.
that is the operating budget.
15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $118,000 to be deposited in the following capital reserves. Do I need to read the account numbers to, for your
You
account?
don't have to read the account numbers,
No,
just,
okay. Highway equipment, 10,000, highway truck, 30,000, highway grader, 30,000, rescue truck, 12,000, landfill closure, 1,000, Maintenance and repair of town buildings, $5,000. Highway loader, $30,000. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Scott, you're on.
All right, number 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $36,704 to pay principal, $35,000, and interest, $1,704 on the Gold Star bond, said amount to be removed from the town's unassigned fund balance. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Number 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $33,000 for the purpose of preparing new cemetery lots at the Maple Grove Municipal Cemetery and to complete a lot line adjustment with a butter to add a parcel of land at the cemetery for future expansion. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. 18,
Can I ask a question on that one, please? How many, the expansion will add how many more lots to the cemetery?
Oh, 400.
400? And that should last us,
Well past my reign.
okay,
For a very long time.
okay,
Yeah, we told them.
Yeah. Well, it
Is that-
hasn't been expanded since 1960 was the last time this was done, this type of thing.
Is the lower section below the driveway that turns to the left, is anyone interred there?
When you drive in and you turn left to go underneath the section, the new section, straight ahead is what we had cleared out. So we went over that bank that was there. Where the parking, where you think of parking, that is not being touched. This is all going towards the Baptist Hill Road side of it.
Okay, is that acquiring new land?
No, this is, part of it is land that Catherine Dixon bought back in 1960.
that's where that big pile of junk and dirt and
All
stumps
kinds
and
of
stuff
mess
was.
in there, yeah. We're cleaning up some of that and flattening out the rest of it at this point.
So going basically westerly.
Right, we were headed towards Baptist Hill Road, but then we cut it back because there is a lot of water, there's gonna be a lot of thought to put in if we're gonna do anything with that other piece of land. So, and then the part about the, I completed a lot line adjustment, if you drive all the way up to the top, where we butt to the Hannah, I forget who we're buying this from, but it's about a quarter acre. It just cleans the cemetery up and it gives us access to some big trees that are gonna have to come out of there, so.
Okay, will that involve a surveyor?
It's already done.
Okay,
Webb Stout was kind enough to donate his services and he surveyed the entire cemetery plot, including the old and the new.
thank you.
okay, I'll continue on with number 18, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the purchase and installation of a ductless AC and heating unit at the Canterbury Historical Society Archives storage room in the Elkins Public Library. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Number 19, to see if the town will,
Are bids being taken on this?
Pardon me?
Are we,
for the ductless
Yeah.
unit.
What's the question?
are we looking for people to do this kind of work? Or are we not doing anything till we know if we're gonna have the money to do it?
We're not doing anything until we got three estimates from three different companies, so we based this warrant article on the estimate.
Are you speaking that this would be like a mini split?
Yeah, so there's one over there now, but it hasn't worked for 5 years. So we're replacing it. And we had a company come in to look at it, see if they could fix it. And because the refrigerant is a different refrigerant that was used, that is not able to be used now, then they have to put in, they felt it'd be cheaper to put in a whole new unit.
Anything further on that?
Any other questions?
All right, I'll continue on. Number 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for for the purpose of negotiating a contract to upgrade the town website. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen. Number 20, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the purchase of a steam cleaner and to withdraw the funds from the highway equipment capital reserve account created for this purpose. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen.
Question, please. What does a steam cleaner do?
Cleans the vehicles, the trucks, the big trucks, the grease and dirt.
It's for the vehicles, not for like cold.
They have one of them up there now that is broken and they can't, it's too old, it's 35 years old and they can't get it repaired, they can't get parts for it, so.
Okay.
And they also use it for, thawing out the,
Oh, culverts.
culverts, in the
Yeah,
winter if they're frozen.
Oh, okay.
all right, Kent,
Number
21.
21, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,500 for the purchase of a folder inserter for the town clerk tax collector's office. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen.
Questions?
Like,
What is a folder inserter?
It's a machine that folds
Makes
the
it like
text,
this and puts it in the envelope for you.
puts it in the envelopes, and I believe, does it seal the envelopes? So that
Yes.
they have to go through the machine that cuts down on man hours, and he's been, Sam's been going to Sambleton to do the tax bills.
Sam's been going where?
to San Burnton.
Sambleton, to do this, to save time and get the bills in the mail, to make you all happy.
Does he have to pay a charge at Sanborn?
No, they've been
They've been more than
very
kind.
nice to us, to let us use theirs.
So how many man hours of paid labor is it gonna take to pay back $5,500 to fold bills?
So I have,
Seems like a lot of money to.
it does, but I have how many pieces of mail that we have sent out with tax bills and everything. Sam gave me, I'm trying to find it. Bear with me. These splits. Oh. Sorry about this. I have too many pieces of paper here. He sent me a note that has, here it is. Okay, annually, the town clerk issues approximately 2,800 tax bills, 1,600 motor vehicle renewals, 800 dog renewal notices. So total is 5,200 pieces of mail annually. And through the assessor, the reval, we have 1,687 cards, so another roughly 1,600 letters every 5 years. And then the supervisor checklist hold a 10-year purge, which is another 310 letters. If purchased, this machine would process over 27,600 pieces of mail over a 5-year span. Otherwise, these pieces are brought at the employee's expense of hours, gas, and mileage to a neighboring town to use their machine, or using collectively hundreds of hours of man hours stuffed and sealed by hand. So, 27,600 pieces of mail over 5 years of time. And I don't, I mean, obviously, we've hand stuffed them and everything in the past. But I haven't done the math to see how long it takes, but my guess is over a 5-year period, this machine would probably more than pay for itself at the hourly rate of the people that do the work.
What would be the lifespan of this piece of equipment?
I don't know,
Hmm.
I don't know,
Do you know how old the Samberton machine
I
is?
don't.
No.
Just 22, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,000 for the purpose of replacement and repairs to the town gazebo handrails. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen.
How fancy are these rails going to be? And has this project been put out to bid?
We have one person that has agreed to do this. I'm guessing if we put it out to bid, it's gonna be more, so. This is something we need somebody, a craftsman with some skills to do this, cause it's,
Well, was my question, is how fancy are these,
it's not so much a fanciness, it's just that they're rotting. And as Dale explained it to me, the building is just standing on those 8 posts, and we need to stabilize those 8 posts, because that's what's keeping it in place. That's what the handrail system does.
So those handrails are not just decorative, they're structural?
Yeah.
And it'll probably end up looking the same?
It'll look almost, I don't know what it'll look like, but it'll be real close to whatever is.
And it's not like adding gingerbreading or anything, it's
No,
just
no.
making it sound?
Yeah, just
Okay.
making it sound.
So since our historic district has incorporated different, more modern building materials, we're not all wooden brick anymore.
Yeah.
Is it any thought to using cement board or any kind of more durable material?
They are, we just need to make sure that they're gonna be strong enough, but yes, we indeed have looked at Trex as one option, those type of plastic woods.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is wide open, so it's just getting rained on all sides all the time, so.
Yeah.
Number 23, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $4,000 for the purchase and installation of gutters for the meeting house. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen.
Will
Come on,
gutters
gotta be a
take,
question on this one.
will gutters take care of what happens to the water that runs out of the gutters and the other water
That's what we're
problem
gonna
in the
need to
center?
deal with, because I don't think we wanna just dump it right out here in front of the library. Right,
Not
so-
unless you want people to skate, I think, to the library.
Right, so.
But does this amount include just the gutters and nothing to deal with grading and water?
Do you remember what that was, Ken?
We had 2 estimates, and it was just to put gutters up, seamless gutters
Right.
on and downspouts. So I don't know, any kind of land excavation or like that would be separate.
I
Should
did
it-
actually look at it. And it looks like there's enough pitch from here to around the backside of the library and down, but it would have to be, it'd have to be somebody with a eyepiece looking at it as it was graded. And that would mean dropping the gutter in the back into a receiving drain, and then this side probably goes through the back of the building and out that same area, tie them all together.
Does it make sense to just do gutters without doing the grading at the same time and just creating another problem you're gonna have to get money for next year? Or can you do that
Well, I think
now?
we were hoping that our highway department could help us out a little bit on
Yeah.
the grading and, cause
So that would just be their hours and,
it would, yeah, you'd have to just throw that cost into their normal advance. That was the hope, depending on what it needs. They did a lot of the work out behind the existing library, and so they have an idea of where the water runs and where it needs to drain.
Ken, hold on, is there hardy plank siding on this building?
Yeah.
Isn't
that's
that
the problem.
another issue too? Cause sometimes if a lot of water is in contact with it, some of those start to disintegrate a little.
And that's the problem,
Yeah.
right there. It's right here, and it's on the back corner over here that it's splashing on it, and that's what's causing the hardy plank to degrade, so. 23, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $4,000. I already did that one. 24, to see if the town will authorize the selectmen to accept up to $15,000 from the forced distribution of funds from the Sam Lake Trust Fund. The exact dollar amount is to be determined by the trustees of the Sam Lake Trust Fund and distributed to the town by the end of the calendar year. Majority vote required, recommended by the selectmen.
I have a question on that one. I didn't understand what distributed to the town meant. Does it go to the Sam Lake Capital Reserve? or-
Yes.
Yeah,
And should it specifically say that?
The,
I mean, distributed to the town sounds like you're gonna, I mean, I know you're not, but it sounds like
yeah,
an odd wording.
the trustees of the trust, which is this, at this point Citizens Bank, requires the Board of Selectmen to write a letter every year. The tax laws, I'll back up a little bit. The tax laws changed about 6 or 7 years ago. We never had to take a distribution from
Right.
the interest or the earnings of that. Once it reaches, the principal reaches a certain amount, the tax laws require that a portion of the earnings be distributed to the recipients of the trust. So the selectmen have to write a letter every year to the trustees of the trust to say that they would like that money distributed to the town, and it has to, the terms of the trust say it has to benefit the property of the Sam Lake House. So it can't be used for any other purpose other than the property of the Sam Lake House.
So the wording distributed to the town actually means,
To the town,
To the-
really to the Board of Selectmen to have it deposited into the Sam Lake Capital Reserve account, because that's the only place it can go.
okay, so it
That's it.
doesn't, that's what, that language covers all that.
Yeah,
Okay,
So what would $15,000 do to the property?
I don't know what, we have, $40-something thousand in that capital reserve account now for
How
forced
much?
distribution. Let me,
40,000.
let me get you an exact figure. Oh, you have it, thank you. At the end of, 2023, we had $56,862 in there.
Doing what? Just collecting interest?
Yep, it's in the capital reserve account. And the selectmen are agents to expend, but if there's a large expense on something, then that would most likely be a warrant article, but, it's, the way the trust reads, it's for maintenance and improvement to the property of the Sam Lake House. That's, I think that's pretty close to the language that's in the trust.
Were any of the funds that are in that trust fund used when the Sam Lake
Yes,
was,
oh yeah, when we redid the building,
yeah,
yeah, we used, quite a bit, cause we had not only been, at the time, the tax laws changed, it was just before we did the renovations up there, and we had already been adding money into that capital reserve account for the previous 4 years, I think, before we did the renovation. So, we haven't added any money into that from tax dollars since the renovation. It's only been forced distributions from the trust.
Is there anything that you can think of, you know?
The garage needs to be fixed at some point,
Yeah.
and we've had a couple estimates, and they're kinda all over the place. You know, I mean, one was $40,000 and another was $12,000, so it's like, well, and, you know, at some point, it's gonna have to be repaired, but the thing is, what does the town wanna use it for? And that's, you know, how much money do you wanna put into it to use it for storage versus do you wanna use it for something else? So,
Is there a time frame? No time frame.
no,
You have to use it up by such and such?
No. No.
once it comes out of the trust and goes to the town into your trust fund account, there's no time frame that
No,
you guys have to expend it.
no.
So
No,
that can build
The
up.
capital reserves can be forever.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I
Tran-
back up to are we done with reading through these for the
No, I
moment?
got one more little bit.
I'm so sorry, honey, okay.
Sorry. To transact any other business that may legally come before this meeting, giving under our hands and seal this 6th day of February in the year of our Lord 2024.
That needs to be changed to the 5th day of February, because today is the 5th.
Right.
Yeah,
Close.
so do you want
So
us to
close.
cross it and you were close. Cross it out initial, or do you need to do a new one?
No, that's it, you're good. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll change the date on
Before
it.
you sign it, I got a question.
Okay, what's your question?
In number 13 and number 15, let's look at 15 first. Is the highway grader for 30,000 the same highway, the same motor road grader in 13? No. Okay.
This,
Yes, it, no,
well, sorta, kind of, but this is money, if I'm correct, Ken, is, the 13 is the money that's already been put aside. 15 is money you're starting to establish anew.
Okay, so then the question is, in the account, the capital reserve account presently,
we have $381,529.
okay, so
And
where do
once
we
the
get the difference?
$30,000 gets added from Article 15, that will give us more than the 400,000.
Ah,
Right, so
That's what my
as a
question was
matter of order, do we first
Should we
need
do,
should 15 and 13 be swapped?
maybe we should,
Just so we put the money
Okay.
in, and then we have all the
Yeah.
money we need.
that way we know
Then
we
we
have
know.
that 400,000 in the tax reserve.
okay, that was the question I
That
tried
would
to
be,
ask earlier.
and we could do that, I think, Jim Miller, I just saw you walk in, we could do that as a point of order at the beginning of the town meeting. Switch the order of the warrant articles,
This was 13 and 15?
yes.
So 15, make sure that 13 is funded.
Okay,
Yes.
good idea.
Okay,
Sure. That's fine, because it's already printed up. done.
yeah.
You got it.
Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Are we supposed to sign this?
please do,
One or all three?
All three of us?
well,
Oh,
All
there.
one
just
page.
one copy,
Just
just
one.
sign all three. All three of you sign one copy.
Hi, Heidi. Papers right up here.
There are copies of the operating budget up here.
I did.
Tax impacts.
I'm pretty sure.
If not, that's okay, it doesn't have
Yeah, I've got tax impacts of the warrant articles,
Okay,
I've got
alright,
copies of the
alright.
budget,
to, okay.
warrant
So-
articles.
Since we just went over the warrant articles, there is a sheet up there that has the proposed warrant articles and the tax impact. In the past, we provided this, and we've done the tax impact based on a $300,000 piece of property. There aren't too many $300,000 houses in Canterbury anymore, so we bumped it up to a $400,000 house. So that's why you'll see the tax impact looks more than in past years, but because we did it on a $400,000 piece of property, so. And these are round estimates on the tax impact. These are not exact figures. The Department of Revenue Administration, has what they call a three-finger rule in order to determine the tax impact on warrant articles. But you can see at the top, it explains that out a little bit, and then you'll see the warrant articles and then the tax impact below. So, really, the big number at the bottom is at the bottom of the page. And on a $400,000 property, the impact would be $261.72. We had a warrant article last year for the fire truck that, was passed. And that warrant article stated that we would buy the fire truck, whether we got a grant, and if we didn't get the grant, then we would bond the money. We did not get the grant, so we have to bond the money. We're not bonded, we have to bond the money this year because we didn't get the notification of the grant until the end of 2023. So you'll see at the bottom of the page, you add the fire truck bond, and that's another $43.20. So the total tax impact of this, of all these warrant articles, is $304.20.
2 cents.
2 cents.
2 cents, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For a $400,000.
For a $400,000 property, yes, yep, yep. I have highlights of the 2024 budget as proposed, and I'll go through that pretty quick. The consumer price index has gone up by 3.7%. The selectmen have proposed wage increases of about 4% to most employees. Some may receive a little bit more because they've been on probation, and so the overall wage increase may be a little bit more than 4%. Because after probation, we typically give someone a raise. The wages, including overtime, add up to about 32% of the operating budget. That does not include the volunteer reimbursement or weekend coverage up at the fire station. Our health insurance went up 15.6% this year, a fairly significant jump. Our employees contribute 20% of the cost of the plan. And we offer a $5,000 payout to someone that is eligible, but does not take the health insurance. Some operating lines that went up, the election wages went up $4,000 because of 4 elections this year. The voting machine, we had to get voting cards and testing and maintenance. We encumbered the $7,000 for the new machine. That's gonna be coming in hopefully the next 2 or 3 months. But we have to spend some money on voting cards and testing and maintenance on it. The planning board, secretary wages are down because we're considering a land use professional. Right now, the planning board secretary as well as the ZBA secretary prepares all documents, does the mailings to all the people that have to come in for meetings and hearings. And it's getting more involved, particularly with the planning board, with site plan review. And so after speaking with the planning board secretary and talking to other towns, most of the towns employ some kind of land use professional. Our assessor was helping out a little bit in the last couple of years, and we didn't give her a wage increase because of it. But she didn't want one, she felt that she could do that, but it's become more complicated because of application process and other extraneous things. So, again, talking with other towns, they have land use professionals that attend trainings, seminars on site plan review and other things that have to do with the planning board. And at this point, the selectmen and the staff at the town office, the planning board secretary feel that it's time that the town gets somebody, a part-time employee to do this work.
Is there a job description for this?
We don't have a job description yet. We have a couple of, well, I guess we do. We have one that we got from a a couple other towns that we've kind of put together. It hasn't been approved by the Board of Selectmen yet, so, but we do have a draft, job description.
So what would the tasks be of a person doing this job?
So, once someone came in to get a application for either the planning board, the ZBA, the, Historic District Commission, and then they would work also with the Conservation Commission, and the Ag Commission, if there were any permits or anything needed through them, then they would get that application, they would review it for completeness, and be in contact with the applicant, and let them know what they needed, and help them with the process, and then to attend the meetings, to explain to the various boards if there were any technical issues that they needed to know, and then do all the follow-up. So that would be kind of the job description in essence.
Okay, follow up of what?
If there's any conditions set on the site plan approval, or if a variance is issued with conditions or anything like that, then they would communicate with the building inspector and code enforcement on any conditions, and make sure that all that is all done, and all the records are done correctly.
Okay, so in some of the conversations that have been in the wind about this position, is this someone that will be involved in enforcement?
No.
Or just a
They would not be a
reporter?
code enforcement officer, but they could assist the code enforcement officer with doing research on variances, conditions set on property and things like that. We were just talking tonight, there's the storage units down at the Hall Road that were put in. They have big gates on them that open and close. Well, the gates are there, but they're not operating. And nobody seems to know whether that was one of the conditions that the planning board put on that property, whether those gates have to be in operation and within a certain time. And that's what this person would help with code enforcement, identify things like that.
Okay, so just identifications.
Yes.
So our town will still only have one enforcement person?
Correct.
How much time do you envision that position being?
Pardon me?
That's a part-time job? that
Yes,
land
yeah, we
use-
budgeted 20 hours a week at $20 an hour,
And they would work out of the town
out of
offices?
the town office.
Okay, so their files and everything would?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
John, did you have a question?
No, I think it's been answered. I was thinking in terms of that follow-up, that they might, would this person go out to, like, building sites and,
They would do walkthroughs with the planning board. The planning board a lot of times does walkthroughs
Okay.
of property when they're doing a site plan review or something like that, so they would attend those,
so
yeah.
some field work?
Yes,
Yeah.
And there was, I think I remember when Greg made his presentation too, they have a certain degree of training that they have
Correct.
to complete to actually be in this position.
Yep, yep.
From the state or?
The New Hampshire Municipal Association offers trainings for planning boards. Sometimes it's nights, sometimes it's weekends. They're, with zoning being more complicated and rules from DES and other places, it has become a lot more complicated than it has been in the past. And they would attend training sessions that are put on by NHMA, and then there's other, the City Managers Association and places like that offer training.
And this person would work for both planning and zoning?
Planning, zoning, and conservation and historic district commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't gone through every single point in the budget. Is the salary for this person already in?
It is in the budget, yes.
It is where?
It's line,
4191.5,
thank you.
191.5.
New land use administrator.
Top of page 4.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, not welfare. 41,
There.
16,
Well, that's
highlighted?
New, it just says new, but you're in the right column.
Yes.
I don't know if it says new in the,
Mine's down here.
I've got it as a copy.
Right here, this right here, this.
What's the line? 41.
See, there's no
41.
line.
No number's been assigned yet.
It's right under 41
Yeah,
and
I've got it. 4191.16. I would assume that would go to 1.7.
It, most likely.
Yeah.
We hope.
Depends on if QuickBooks wants to behave.
The next highlight that I have is the fire department.
Oh, it does say new.
The full-time firefighter, EMT that we have up at the fire station now has said that he's gonna retire. He's sent in his paperwork for us or that he's gonna be done the end of March. The fire chief has one of his volunteer firefighters now, or one of his paid-on-call firefighters now, that they would like to fill a position at 26 hours a week. They can work 3 or 4 days. So the wages are still there, because we had to fill that in case Dave doesn't retire. He's gave us his notice, but that could change. So, but at the end of the day, there will be a cost savings, if we pay this person an hourly rate at per diem, and there won't be any, benefits, no healthcare or anything like that, so. That line is still there, the wage line is still there, cause we had to keep it there until Dave actually leaves. Pennant Rescue is up 9.3% to $166,204. In the highway department, equipment repairs, that line is up $8,750. We had several breakdowns at the highway department this year. The road grader was down for a while, we couldn't get parts, and then we finally did get parts for it. The backhoe was down and it is not repairable, so we've been renting an excavator, and we need something. And we've had trucks that have had issues, and I have details on things if somebody's interested in mechanical work that we did, but suffice it to say, you can look at the budget and what we spent this year, how we overexpended the maintenance lines in the truck accounts, the truck maintenance lines. So because the equipment is getting older, the road agent felt that we should bump those maintenance lines up a little bit in case something happens. So that's why that line is up. He does have an estimate for paving. And the plan is that this year for the paving will be Mountain View and Overlay, Ayers Road, the existing hot top on it, reclaim and overlay. Morrill Road, there's a section of it that he's gonna do, reclaim and overlay. Overlay the library parking lot. Ball Road, he's gonna grade and shim and swale. And then, he's also gonna do, you can see he's got encumbered money for the guardrails on Layton Drive. The other big project that we're considering doing is doing, some upgrades, repair to some of the dirt roads in town. There has been no substantial amounts of gravel added to any of the dirt roads in quite a period of time. If you drive down the dirt roads, you'll see that and certainly there's differences because of the land, the terrain, but you'll see that the dirt roads, a lot of them, on the edge are 6, 8, foot lower than the surrounding terrain. And that is because every time they grade and they ditch pull the ditchings out, they lose a little material. So if you're not adding material back to win those areas, then you eventually end up losing a lot of that material that's on the road. So the thought was that they're going to take, the selectmen felt that would be a good use for the ARPA money that we received a couple of years ago. It would benefit the whole town. It's approximately $250,000 that we have. The road agent did some preliminary calculations, and I think he said if he did every dirt road and added, 6 inches or 5 inches, whatever it was, to every dirt road, it'd be $3 million. So,
What was the 250?
the 250 was the ARPA money that the town received
American Rescue.
back, the American Rescue Act. The selectmen that money can be used for almost anything. We can't pay off existing bonds, we can't invest it, there's certain things we can't do with it, but you can use it to, for a project like this. You could do individual projects. When we had discussions with the budget committee, there was questions about using it in different lines, a little bit here, a little bit there. The problem with that is the paperwork that follows up on this grant work is substantial, and if you use it for different projects, you have to document everything. So using it for multiple separate projects would become a burden, I guess, on me. So I've asked that we try to use it for one big project, because it's a lot easier to do the paperwork afterwards. We have to comply with all sorts of federal regulations when we use this money. Yeah, so the thought was that this would probably be a good use of that money. And we have to designate its use by the end of 2024, and we have to use it by 2025, at the end of 2025. So the thought was that we could have our road agent go through and identify the worst of the dirt roads, the places that needs it the most. And he's gonna come up with plans for a project of doing this. And it may involve hiring private contractors to haul the material in, and our road grader to do the work, to grade the roads and do all that. It may, combination of both. So that's what we're trying to do it and get our most bang for the buck.
So the roads that you mentioned, like the Borough Road and the library parking lot
Those are
stuff,
pavement, that's all
that's
pavement.
pavement, that's not what you're
That's
talking
pavement.
about
Nope.
doing this.
No,
So
this
the
is-
list that, John just hasn't come up with a list yet.
He has not come up with a list
Alright.
of the roads, the dirt roads, or the portions of dirt roads that he feels are in the most need of repair.
So does it need to specify in the budget anywhere that money's gonna be targeted towards roads?
Does not.
When do you,
It does not, it's not specified anywhere.
alright,
We made sure that we made the town aware a couple of years ago when we received the money, that we received it. We had to have public hearings in order to receive it, and, but now we're trying to get ready to use it, and this is one of the
so
projects.
it's up to the board.
It's up to the select.
At some point, you make a designation and then the paperwork starts. Okay.
But in the interest of everybody understanding where that money goes, that next year they just don't see a line in the budget that says $250,000 for the dirt roads.
Yeah, right.
Well, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Trying to keep everybody up to speed on this stuff. There's been increases in the wages at the transfer station, of 42%, which is $20,300. And that is because we have a full staff and we increased hours up there. So that's, the guys at the transfer station, along with some help from the highway department, every Tuesday they go up at noon time and bale the cardboard and paper, so. And I think you'll see in the town report, in the report from the solid waste committee, it tells how many bales of cardboard they've sent, and we're actually getting some income out of it now, so.
Just a comment about cardboard. Given what's happening at the country store, there's a lot of cardboard that is being used that is going to the transfer station and building up that supply.
Yeah, they've, I was kinda surprised that they've been bailing as many bales of cardboard as they have. They've already shipped one load, which is a tractor trailer load of cardboard. They went into operation in late April, and they've already made enough bales to fill. That was done in September, I think. They sent out a tractor trailer load of bales of cardboard.
And do we get a pretty decent return?
We're getting some money. It's dependent on the market. But we are getting money back instead of costing us money now, so. There is a cost to it because we have to pay people to get it done, and we had to buy the baler, but we are getting our revenue from it, so.
So Ken, while we're at the solid waste collection, there's one line there, 4323, that's 30% up. Is that the test wells for groundwater testing?
Yes, so the groundwater testing, a couple years ago, they identified that there are PFAS chemicals up there. We did a whole bunch of historical research to figure out why.
Yeah.
Really didn't come up with a reason. It's a landfill. PFAS has been found in firefighting foam, and I talked to Dale, and I talked to other members that have been on the fire department. They don't remember having used foam up there, but that doesn't say that it wasn't used at some point. But it's there. It's in the water, it's in the groundwater, it's in the test wells, and the DES has their rules say that if you have a certain parts per million of it in the test wells, that you have to test more frequently, and
So is that why that's gone up?
That's why it's gone up,
More frequent testing?
yes.
Okay.
yeah, frequent testing for the PFAS, and it costs more. And really, most of the costs of that are lab costs.
Yeah,
The actual physical work of going and collecting a sample that's done by our engineering firm isn't a lot of money, but the lab costs are what's expensive.
and is there any sense of how close we are to some kind of tick mark that says red lights and we have to do something?
So, no, there is no remediation on PFAS. So all they can do go dig it up and
Right,
pump the stuff out of the ground. They can't, even if they capped it, it's still gonna be there. All they can do is monitor it and make sure it does not travel. There's one of the neighbors' water wells that we have tested, that's one of the reasons it went up, because we're now including that water well.
oh, you're in test,
In the
so in
test.
case it got in the groundwater and went to
drinking
the
water,
neighbors?
yeah.
Oh, okay, good,
Yeah,
alright,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and I don't, and if it got to a level that, I don't know that there's any level that they say that you have to do anything, because there's nothing you can do.
You do.
So, it's just monitor it, and I think the big thing is that as long as it doesn't get into one of the neighboring water wells, then we're okay. If it does, then the town would be, I would imagine would be on the hook for trying to drill a new water well or something for the neighbor. So,
Okay. Thank you.
We had a fairly significant direct assistant request this year, so you'll see that, we bumped that up to $4,000, or up $4,000 in direct assistance.
Where
Is
is
that
that?
the welfare line?
Yeah, yep, yep. Let's see, the library, the wages are up 8%, I know Rachel's increasing some hours there. The trustees are funding $9,000 in wages again this year. I think we've gone through all of the warrant articles, so the total operating budget
Can I ask one more question though?
Sure.
The community power,
Yep.
the line, it says that it went up, from 500 to 2,500?
Yes.
40%, what does that include?
Howard had asked us if we could bump that up because there are training things and other, they might be putting mailings out and some other things. He asked if we increased it to that. So, he
No,
was gonna,
no particular spending?
he was gonna speak to that at town meeting.
Okay,
Yeah. Yep.
Item 4520.3, soccer field maintenance. Just a question, where's our soccer field?
It's up at the school.
Isn't that the school's
So
responsibility?
the field is the schools, but the soccer, the soccer, people have to, do lines, when they paint lines on the ground, and then they put in they do some fertilizer, and do things like that. So it's, they asked if they could put some money in the budget for that. You can see it's a negligible cost, and,
Yeah,
and again, mostly it's for painting the lines when they have a soccer game down there.
that we pay for the soccer equipment that the school uses?
No, the school, this is for the recreation department, this is a town recreation league that they, or the kids league that they do.
Okay, oh, okay, yeah,
It's not associated with the school district,
okay,
this is just a town
I just wanted to
project.
clear that up in my mind.
Yep.
Ken, I have an area that I wanna ask questions on too.
Yep.
Under planning board, and look at the planning board secretary wages. The budget for last year was 5,500, the actual was 6,030. The budget for this year, 2,500, there is a reduction of 3,000. And then the percentage, can you explain that? And then I also
That-
wanna go to the zoning.
That is because if we get the land use administrator, that would take a lot of the work away from the planning board secretary. They would become a recording secretary, and they wouldn't be doing all the mailings and all that.
Okay.
And the same thing with the ZBA secretary.
Why do you mean the same thing, secretary? So it's, again, if you look at that particular line,
Yep,
it was budgeted for 2,500.
yep.
It was used at 2,610. The reduction is 500, but there's no additional person to fill in for that.
That land use administrator would be doing all the mailings that Lisa is doing now, all the notice of abutters, all that stuff. So she would become a recording secretary.
Why would, that's a good, I don't mean to interrupt you, okay?
No,
All
I'm
right.
just
So
curious why.
why would that change for the planning board or the zoning board?
Because the land use, professional would be doing it, not the secretaries.
Because why?
Because that was what we included in the job description and everything that I talked about, that's what that person would be doing.
Well, when we were talking about the land use person, you were describing what they were doing, but you didn't say anything about taking,
They would
changing the
accept
job,
the application, they
changing
would
the job
accept the
description.
applications, they would make sure the applications are complete, which that's what you and Lisa,
Lois, the other.
Lois are doing now.
Yeah,
And they would do all the follow-up, which you guys, that's what you guys are doing now, so that would take hours away from the need for you guys to do that. And so we put a small wage reduction in there. It's just, it's less work for you guys, but something that somebody could be, again, the land use professional could be trained in this field and have, be available daytimes and whatever to talk with people.
I think it's odd that this is the first time I'm hearing about this. Did this get discussed with the board chairs?
It was discussed with the Board of Selectmen and the planning board and the HDC and everybody. I can't, I don't know, I'm sorry, I apologize if you weren't included in this discussion.
Was the chairman of the zoning board?
I believe so,
He knows about it,
I believe so, yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I have a question, EMT wages under the, fire. I understand our fire chief is retiring, as you said,
The firefighter is retiring.
our
The firefighter is retiring.
Not the chief.
firefighter, oh,
The fire chief is still there, the firefighter is the one that's retiring.
I guess I missed that. Is the EMT person full-time?
Yes,
Okay,
yep.
and we no longer, we don't have an ambulance here?
We do not have an ambulance, we have a first responding rescue truck that the EMT or the on-call people after hours respond to any medical emergencies with.
Okay, but this
And that's why we pay Pinnacle Rescue as a retainer to do our transport.
Right. But right now, is there somebody up at the fire station full-time,
Daytime,
daytime?
daytime, yes.
But that would not include your EMT person all the time.
So today, we have a firefighter, EMT, that comes in at 7:30 in the morning and works till 4:30 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. In the evenings and holidays, weekends, we have an on-call department, and they answer, when a call comes in, they go to the fire station and take the truck. The guy that's there now, Dave Nelson, has made his intention clear that he's getting done in the end of March. The fire chief has one of his volunteer on-call firefighter EMTs, I think he's actually a paramedic, right, Scott?
That is correct.
That has expressed interest in the position, but he can only work 3 or 4 days a week. So the thought was that he could do that, he would be a part-time employee, he would not get retirement or health insurance, he would only get wages, holidays, paid holidays and that. And then the chief has a substantial call force that he can have the other days filled in by somebody that's on the call force, a qualified individual. So the coverage would not change, the coverage of the town, emergency services coverage would not change. It would be different people, it would not be a full-time position, it would be a part-time position as well as per diem, what they call per diem. Yep.
Okay.
So, at the end of the day, the overall, operating line, is up $94,634, which is 2.9%. We tried to keep it under 3%, I think we've done a pretty good job. The, school district, I don't know if anybody's been involved with the school district budget hearings, but the school portion of the taxes is going to increase significantly next year. So we made a concerted effort to keep the town portion of the budget below 3%.
Much appreciated.
Jim?
Question on 4194.63. Center maintenance.
Yep.
So we spent almost all of the budget for 2023.
Yep.
And then the budget got cut in half. Is that, what does that involve?
We bought a flagpole last year.
It's not gonna need much maintenance?
We increased it last year, and we bought a flagpole, and it's not wooden, so we don't have to paint it.
Okay. All right. Yes. Okay, perfect.
There is money in there for the Cushman Elm, which is, they come out and do treatments on the Cushman Elm, which is about $600 a year. And then we also put in I know this past year, the lights on the Christmas tree weren't able to be put up. A lot of them had been damaged last year because of wind. So we included $1,000 to buy some new lights. I think the recreation committee is taking that on, so that's where we're gonna go.
Excellent. Thanks.
Can the elm tree arborist check the health and well-being of the pine tree?
They have, and they've recommended treatments, and we have treated it in the past.
Okay.
There's, unfortunately with those spruce trees, they do have a lifespan, and some live longer than others, and obviously with all the road salt and everything like that out there, it becomes it is definitely getting towards the end of its life, and there is only so many things that we can do with it.
What's the plan for the one on the hill, for the old Elkins Library?
There is no plan. I think it's gonna have to come down at some point, but we don't, we had them look at that, and they said that one is too far gone, they can't do anything, so.
Who does the trees in the center now? All the other trees, the maples and things around the gazebo? Is that the,
So we have had a kind of a cooperative.
Yeah, Jim Miller and Donna have been leading the effort to plant and plan, and we've got an awful problem encroaching with the invasives. I don't know what we're gonna do about it, but it's filled the whole back lane behind the school there, so all those things are sort of included under that umbrella.
well, the only reason I ask is that the trees around the gazebo are outgassing dead branches at an alarming rate.
Well,
They
the
filled
elm,
up,
the elm trees.
I filled up
doing
my
that.
car twice.
Really?
Yeah, they're dropping a lot, so I
Yeah,
don't know
I
who's
mean,
looking at them.
we planted some trees the last year, Kevin
Yeah.
Bragg planted some trees, and we're trying to, I know we took down a few of them, and then we replanted, so we're trying to get trees. I think the overall end of we had discussed at one point, replacing the, curbing that went around the green,
Yeah,
because right now the pavement has come up, so some of that water that runs off the road actually goes onto the lawn there.
oh, so
And-
the salty water?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's, I mean, at some point, we're gonna have to do that, is replace the curbing.
But it's not in this budget.
Not in this budget, no.
Yeah, we keep an eye on that Norway maple that's on the store side.
Yeah.
That's the one that's got kind of a hole in it, up in the canopy. So yeah,
Yeah, those three
they're not
trees right on the
long-lived.
edge on the store side of the green, that
Yeah.
I picked up a carload of branches today. They just, everything's, I was just worried about the,
Yeah, we were planning to pick up branches Sunday,
oh, I got me
Yesterday?
to do it.
but yeah, we didn't get to it, but thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
On the, and I just may have missed this at the beginning, or not sure, the highway truck,
Yep.
so we approved 150,000, we spent 70, is that kind of like a multi-year acquisition, or?
No, well, so, sorry. It's so frustrating, I kinda have to laugh, because if I don't, I'll get very, very upset. We got the truck, we actually got the truck from Gaponi's in August. We brought it to HP Fairfields. We didn't even bring it back to Canterbury, we brought it right to HP Fairfields in August. We finally took delivery of it last week. So we had to encumber the money, to
Yeah.
pay HP Fairfield, so that's why it's encumbered.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Cause we paid Gaponi when we picked it
Right.
up.
Part of it falls in
Yeah,
twenty-four.
yeah, and
I was just curious.
why it took 6 months for them to put a body and a plow on it, is subject for discussion with HP Fairfield. But since the last time we used a company down in Manchester, and they were just as bad, so we're back to Fairfields. So, I guess that's just the way things are now. You know, they tell us that they don't have any help, and they have trucks lined up on the parking lot, and like, okay.
Yeah,
But 6 months just seems unreasonable. I said, what if we were a business trying to run a business like this? But that's, I guess that's what it is, so.
and thinking about, bonds, I know there was one that was really close, is there,
Oh, Gold Star.
yeah, is
Yeah.
that next
That's like
year?
2025, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep,
okay, so we're not far from that.
correct.
I
Correct.
think is.
Yeah, we're actually, in pretty good shape, well, actually in very good shape financially,
Yeah.
the town overall.
Right.
We have over $1 million on our unreserved fund balance. Our long-term bonds are gonna be paid off very soon. We have the bond coming up for the fire truck that which most likely be a 10-year bond, that we're gonna have to take out this year. But then pretty much all the bonds, in the next 3 or 4 years, all the bonds are gonna be paid off.
Which will obviously soften the blow on that
Correct,
fire
yeah,
truck.
and last year, the bond was paid off, I guess, in 23 or 23, the bond was paid off for the municipal building, improvements, so that was $130,000 or whatever it was, that we didn't have to come up with this year,
Yeah.
for 24.
Okay.
Yep.
Just confirm, Jim, 2025 for the Gold Star.
Okay.
So,
At the end of 2025, or
2025 is the last year we
so
paid,
Yeah.
2 more years?
so 2 more
Right.
years, we
And
paid
then-
24 and then in 25, the last time.
And then the, Laurel Road Bridge, Hancock Police Cruiser, that's 2026.
Oh. Okay, cool.
And that's like 54,000 and change, more or less.
More or less.
Good pun.
Anything else?
Do we have anything else?
Need a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close it up.
I make a motion to close the public hearing. Thank you very much for coming.
I'll second that
Thank you.
motion, and thank you.
Thank you. All in
Thank
favor?
you.
Aye.
Aye?
Thank you.
Great.